Somebody just left you on read. Your stomach drops. Your chest tightens. It feels for a second like you've been hit. That's strange, isn't it? A text message can't touch your body. No fist, no fall, no injury. And yet the sensation is unmistakably physical. So why does your brain treat rejection like a wound? The answer starts in a lab at UCLA. With a simple video game, researchers Naomi Eisenberger and Matthew Lieberman asked volunteers to lie inside a brain scanner and play a game of catch. 3 players, 1 virtual ball, tossed back and forth on a screen. What the volunteers didn't know was that the other 2 players were computer programs. Halfway through the game, the program stopped throwing them the ball. Nothing happened physically. No pain, no danger, no threat. Just silence. Just being left out of a simple game. But the brain scans told a different story. The same regions that activate when your body is injured lit up. The anterior cingulate cortex. The anterior insula. These are the areas that process the distress signal of physical pain. Being excluded from a game of catch on a computer produced a neural signature almost identical to touching something hot. Why would a harmless game trigger a response built for burns and broken bones? You have to go back further than the lab, back to a time when being cast out of the group wasn't uncomfortable. It was lethal. For most of human history, you did not survive alone. Not for long. There was no such thing as figuring it out on your own. There was only the group, the people who shared food when you had none, who kept watch while you slept. If the group pushed you out, you lost your food source, your protection, your odds of living through the next winter. Exile was, in the most literal sense, a death sentence. So think about what kind of brain would have survived that world. Not one that shrugged off rejection. The brain that survived was the one that treated social exclusion as an emergency, that felt it as urgently as it felt a physical threat. Evolution didn't build a separate alarm system for loneliness. It reused the one already built for the body. The pain network got repurposed to protect something just as vital to survival. Your place in the group. That's the real answer hiding underneath the question. Rejection doesn't just feel like pain. In your brain, it partially is pain. Here's where it gets stranger. If rejection uses the same pathways as physical pain, could the same remedies work on both? A researcher named Nathan DeWall decided to test that. Participants took acetaminophen, the common pain reliever, every day for 3 weeks. Others took a placebo. Neither group knew which one they had. By the end of the study, the people on the actual pain reliever reported less hurt feelings in daily life, less sting from small rejections. When scanned playing that same exclusion game, their brains showed reduced activity in the very regions Eisenberger had identified. A pill made for headaches was dulling the achy of being left out. Your body doesn't fully distinguish between the pain of a wound and the pain of being unwanted. It runs them through overlapping machinery. Think about what your ancestors needed most, beyond food, beyond shelter. They needed each other. A human alone on the savannah, without allies, had a short and brutal timeline ahead. Belonging wasn't a luxury, it was survival infrastructure, and your brain still treats it that way, even now. That's why a canceled plan can wreck your whole afternoon. Why an unanswered message can loop in your head for hours. Why being quietly excluded from a group chat can feel disproportionately devastating compared to what actually happened. Nothing was taken from you. No object, no resource you can point to. But your ancient alarm system doesn't know the difference between a group chat and a hunting party. It only knows one thing. You've been pushed outside the circle. And for nearly the entire span of human existence, that meant your life was in danger. Researcher Kipling Williams spent decades studying ostracism, the experience of being ignored and excluded. His work found something unsettling in how automatic the pain response is. It didn't seem to matter who was doing the excluding. Strangers, people participants disliked. Even a computer program they knew with total certainty wasn't real. The pain registered anyway. Your brain will hurt over rejection from a source it knows isn't even human. That's how deep the wiring goes. You're not weak for feeling wrecked by rejection. You're running software built for a world where exclusion could kill you, and that software hasn't finished updating for a world where it usually just stings. Stretch this into the world you actually live in. You're surrounded by more chances for rejection than any human before you, a message unanswered, a post gathering silence instead of likes, and your brain reads all of it as a verdict. None of this existed for your ancestors. Yet the alarm fires exactly the way it always has over things that, on paper, cost you nothing at all. Does that mean you're stuck feeling every rejection this intensely forever? Not exactly. Understanding where the pain comes from changes how you carry it. When you know your brain is treating a text left on read the same way it would treat an injury, you can name what's happening instead of getting swept under it. Your capacity to feel this pain isn't a flaw. It's evidence of exactly how much you were built to need other people. A creature that felt nothing at exclusion would wander off from the group without a second thought, and in the world your ancestors lived in, it would not last long. The ache is the price of belonging, inherited from every ancestor who cared enough to stay close. So the next time a rejection lands like a blow, remember what's happening underneath it. Your brain isn't malfunctioning, it's remembering. Remembering a time when the group was everything, when being cast out meant the end, when connection wasn't a preference but a requirement for staying alive. That text left on read isn't just a message. It's a message your nervous system has been waiting tens of thousands of years to answer, and it's still, in some quiet corner of your mind, treating it like the difference between safety and the wild.